But the uh, it
Okay.
was an overreaction to everything. I'm just going to say that. That's where I'm going to leave that. Everything was an overreaction.
Overreaction, yeah. Oh, I understand that. I can totally see that. It must have been really hard to deal with. So somebody in the chat asked about Baileyton when you guys went looking. Will you explain that situation before you go? The night before on the 14th. There's all this talk about because I kind of want to just know for myself. So I want to hear it from the source. You were there, you know what happened when Jackie Dobbs on the 14th went and took off. It was said that you guys were looking for him, that you had gone to a couple hotels, traveled to a different little town, kind of looking for him. Can you explain to me what you guys were looking for? Did you just want to make sure he was gone, that he wasn't coming back? Was it something from your standpoint? What went on that everyone was looking for Jackie Dobbs?
Not knowing if that was really the property or not, because he didn't have a deed currently. I'm pretty sure is how that went.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
To see we didn't know for sure if he was the one that really owned the property because he did not show us anything or the cop anything that proved he owned property. He just had some printouts of some stuff showing the property and stuff like that. He didn't have no deed yet.
Okay, so you were even questioning if he was the actual buyer. Like you were like, is this guy even for real?
Before that, there had been people trying to buy, said my property was for sale.
Uh-huh.
Had come up to the house saying that the house was for sale and all this stuff out looking around and stuff. There had been some people showed up. I can't remember correlation, time frame, all this. I think it was a few months before, trying to say that my mama had sold some timber off the property and that we were there to get it and start logging. And I had to explain to him that my mama had been dead since like 2015, something like that, that there was no way that she had sold no timber rights to nobody.
Did you have Jackie Dobbs' number on the 14th? He had just put that in the chat a few minutes ago. He was curious. Were you in possession of Jackie Dobbs' phone number on the 14th? I don't know why he asked that, but there must be a reason. Cracking case.
Yeah, I had his number on the 14th.
You did? Okay. Did you try to call him before you went looking, but he didn't answer? Maybe.
I think I called him the next day telling him that Summer had went missing, that he needed to speak with the police if he had been down in there.
All right. So you didn't even try to call him the night that you guys were looking for him. I got you. And then there was something.
Okay, I'm going to explain something. Y'all ask these questions.
Okay.
I do shit that is not important. I mean, if it's not important to me to survive and to live and to make it through my everyday life, I don't remember it.
I understand that. Yeah. Certain things stick out to you. And you remember.
I don't understand if I got misdiagnosed when I was a child, whether I'm autistic, borderline, whatever. I'm supposed to have ADD, ADHD, a whole bunch of other shit, but my mind does not work like everybody else's. I can tell you phone numbers of people that I talked to 15, 20 years ago, but I can't remember phone numbers from now. I mean, you're asking questions, you're wanting me to say stuff, and I don't know if it's true a lot of times, but I'm telling the truth as I know it and I remember it, because I don't remember a lot of stuff.
The thing is, Andy, listen, we've been listening to Jodi for a really long time, telling all these stories, right? So all of the people that have sunk in all that information into their brains, they're naturally going to be like, let me ask Andy what happened with this, because they want to see if your answer is the same, and not because not to attack you or not to say, oh, Andy's a liar. We're trying to all just make sense. Which pieces fit? Which stories correlate? Is Jodi got the same? Did Jodi maybe stretch the truth or tell a lie? Because if you can confirm certain things, then that clears Jodi on certain things. Not everything Jodi says is a lie, right? I mean, let's be real. Some things are, some things aren't. We want to know what those things are so we can wipe them off the map, even if they might not have anything to do with Summer directly, or it still matters because we've all been listening to her for so long and she's told these stories over and over again. So we're just trying to weed through all the things that really don't matter, right? So, okay, we can wipe that off the map because Andy cleared that up. His story matches or Andy actually had a different rendition than Jody did, or whatever. It's not for a nefarious reason or anything. And if you don't remember something, I totally sympathize, because my short-term memory is shit. I can remember being 3 years old and certain things from my childhood where like my mom will be like, holy shit, you remember that? You were 2. But then if you ask me something that happened last week, I have a really hard time remembering. So short term is not so good for me. But so I totally sympathize with you on that. I get it. And things that don't matter, you're not going to against you. I'm just trying to gain some clarity on the situation, because there's been so many things that have been said. I just want to make sense of why. All right. So when like Jody said it was the perfect storm, let me ask you this. Do you feel that way too? That when Summer went missing, it was like the perfect sequence of events that led up to nobody noticing what happened? When she says the perfect storm, she's referring to the tree cutters being there, the foliage coming through a little bit more lush the very next day, things like that, where sound would travel a certain way that it didn't travel the day after, things like that. Do you feel the same way that she does about it being like the perfect sequence of events where this slipped through the cracks where normally it wouldn't have? But just during this time, there were weird things going on around the house that just happened to be going on when Summer went missing. Like, do you, and it's not a trick question, I just want to know if you share any of the same feelings as she does when it comes to Summer. Do you feel like it was the perfect storm, or do you think that's just kind of like a load of crap?
I mean, to a certain extent, it was a lot of people in and out because of the property being sold and people looking at it, and the tree cutters. Yes, there was a lot of traffic that was out of the normal.
Okay.
But other than anything else, no. I mean, it's just it's stretched. It's
Stretched.
one more time.
So is there anything that, so when you said like, the things were stretched, is there anything that stands out to you? So could you give any examples of when you say like stretching the truth or exaggerating or embellishing? Is there anything specific that stands out to you where you can say, this was exaggerated, or this was a stretch of the imagination? Or is there anything for you that stands out that you're sitting here right now that you can say, this was total bullshit, or this was extremely exaggerated? Anything at all that you feel around Summer's disappearance and things that have been stated? Is there anything that stands out to you the most that yourself for a fact to be a stretch or exaggeration or not the truth at all? Any of them?
Well, it's hard to say when you put it like that. It's hard to single out. So I don't necessarily have the time at this point in time to single out everything, go over everything.
Yeah, no problem.
It's an over exaggerate. I don't know how to put it. There was no need for me to be brought into this. There was no need for half the people to be brought into this that was brought into it for no prevail. This was about Summer. This wasn't about me and her's toxic ass relationship. This was not about me getting out of the relationship. This was not about my anything. This was not about me. This was about Summer. This was about Summer.
Yep.
I mean, what does it matter where property lines lay?
Yep.
What does it matter that people think that there's monkeys in Beach Creek?
Yeah, right.
It's not something happened to the little girl that has not happened to every Beach Creek that I know of. I used to be her age and run off that hill when I was in my mama's. Me and some of the people that watch this stuff have been the same people that run off that hill when we was younger and hung out down there and run around down there. And it just don't jive. And it just wrote into this. What does people's relatives, who their family is? I mean, I get some of the people involved in the information that seems to be popping up, their names, like the Washawn name in the house I got raided in '09. I don't know who a Washawn is, and I don't know none of them, but somehow that name got into this.
Okay. I can explain that to you.
Well, I'm just trying to clear up a little bit of stuff and try to maybe sink out of it. Because, like you said, I wouldn't care to be in the YouTube community, but this is not what I want to do in the community.
I know.
It's affected so much of my life, and it's just, I don't know.
Here, I'm going to show you. Look. So Deets on the street says, we've listened to literally thousands and thousands of hours from Jodi, and that's not a stretch, Andy. It's literally been thousands of hours.
I know. 1,800 and some hours. I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up one day. Or somebody told me about it one day. I didn't.
And Deet says, we're just eager to hear your input now too. And that's really just it. I think that and I will say it, I've said it already. I think you're far more likable than Jodi. I think you're far more personable than Jodi. I think that you're a lot more level-headed, form a freaking rational thought. We know what you're saying. We can hear you. You're making sense. So it's a hell of a lot easier. Yeah, thank you, Deets on the street. You must be reading my mind. Easier to digest because when we ask you a question, you're very straightforward and it's a short answer, like very easy to understand. We don't have to listen to 25 minutes of crazy psychobabble to get an answer out of you. You're just like, nah, this is what it is. And I appreciate it. I really do. I think a lot of us do. So that went on. His brother is Gene Wishon, and he shared the same address on Snaps Ferry. And now I know that was, I believe, 8 units, right? 8 or 9. I think it was 8 units on Snaps Ferry. So he shared.
We lived in the trailer. We didn't live in the trailer park. We lived in the house.
He lived in the house. Okay. All right. So
like
that
100 from the trailer park.
Okay. So you knew of that guy, but you don't know his brother.
Don't know of the Wishon. The only, I know of them now after all this. I didn't know them in 2009 when I lived there and got raided there and moved out.
Okay.
I didn't even know nobody lived in that trailer. I mean, I knew people lived in the trailer park, but I didn't know nobody that lived in the trailer park. I know the dude lived over there at the junkyard, but that was only because he's like an old dude and sold parts and shit.
Okay. So you didn't have any connection to him, like personally, or?
No.
All right. Well, that actually clears up some questions that people had, because a lot of people think that there might be a connection, and a lot of people said, where did 423 Chase come from? And a lot of people think, well, maybe Jodi knew him beforehand. You never know, right? So that's where that question comes from. That's where the Wishon stuff comes from. Maybe Jodi knew him beforehand or whatever. But you're right, Andy. You were brought into all of your relationship issues were put out there and I don't agree with that. I think what Jodi did was absolutely asinine. I don't think that it needed to be done. I don't think that any of your personal relationship issues needed to be made a spectacle. I don't think that your domestic issues deserve to be put out there. I mean, sure, tell your story if you want to, but it's all she talks about. To the point where we hear the word terrorization and torment and all these crazy words more than we hear the name Summer. And what you just said up here, this is about Summer. That's what we've been trying to say all this time. We're like, Jodi, this doesn't fucking matter. We're worried about Summer. Your relationship issues with Andy are irrelevant to us. It's in the past. You're married now. You're moving on. It's over. All right. You told your story. It's over and done with. Move on. Heal. Get your life back in order. Whatever. And we're all trying to scream from the rooftops, like, let this go now. Like, this has to be about Summer. She's made it about your life. And I think I speak for a lot of people when I say I'm very sorry for that, because it's super embarrassing and mortifying to have your whole personal life put out there. It has nothing to do with Summer's disappearance. If Jodi smacked you in the face or you punched her in the arm, that has nothing to do with Summer. Just an example. I'm just saying, it's infuriating. So thank you for sharing the same feelings that we do about it, because it's bullshit. But quite frankly, nobody wants to hear this shit. All right. And we've been saying it for so long. And I think that it says a lot about you. I'm not trying to like boost your ego or anything, but it seems like you're far more understanding when it comes to Summer's circumstance. Jodi is more focused on herself. You seem to be more focused on, okay, what happened to the little girl? Let's figure out that. This doesn't matter. Why is my life, a subject right now? So I'm glad that you share those feelings because we all feel the same. And I'm going to tell you why. I
I
know
feel
you don't want to be a part of this. And I know that you want to probably just shut off everything and just go on with your life. I don't think you're like an internet type of guy who wants to hang out on YouTube panels. I don't get that impression from you. But this is why I think you're really important at this point in time. The reason why is because all of the lies and all of the stories, all of these, crazy, she's told a million stories, and you are the only one that can counter those. You're the only one that can bring some clarity to help us know, okay, what's true, what's not, or not. Let me say this, you're the only one who can say, no, that isn't how this happened, or no, that's not exactly the way things went down, this is what happened, or whatever. So you are helpful to the situation when it comes to clearing up all of the bullshit. And I think that as much as you don't want to deal with any of this stuff, and I can't blame you because you didn't ask for this to happen. It's actually really helpful that you are around and you're open to talking to people, because all we really want to do is get rid of the speculation, get rid of all of these questions, and focus on what actually matters. So if we can cut through the fat, then that's going to help a whole lot. And you are actually really vital in doing that because you're the only one that knows all the shit Jody is talking about. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and I don't mean to put pressure on you. I don't want to pressure you in any way. You don't have to do anything.
what's going on and what's not going on because I'm the one that lived with it for 26 years.
Yeah.
That's
And I'm sorry for that. It sucks, right? But like, you actually really, you are an important part of this now because she made you a part of it, and you can bring a lot of clarity to the situation, and you're able to clear some things up. And I think that if anything, it'll cut down on the rumors, the lies, the things that aren't true or factual or realistic even. And I hate that for you, that you have to be forced into the whole situation. But unfortunately, she made you a part of this YouTube shenanigans without your permission. I can't imagine what it was like sitting there for a whole year hearing all this bullshit, not being able to speak or say anything. It's extremely unfair. But most of all, if you could stick around, in this community, or not all, you don't have to be around all the time, but when people ask you stuff, just know they're not asking you because they want to target you. They're asking you because they've heard so much shit, and they just want to figure out what matters and what doesn't, what's true, what's not, what's actually a part of the story and what is not a part of the story. And you're really the only one that can answer those questions because they came from Jody. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but no, I appreciate that you do answer questions and you're open to doing that. And I think a lot of people are. Big Mad is saying, could you clear up stuff? Hold on. If the real Andy B could clear up stuff, he might be able to see his daughter sooner. Huh? JSB might see him.
Let me get the screenshot. There it is.
What does that have to do with
Who's
anything?
Big Mad?
I don't know, but that's a really odd comment. If Andy B could clear up stuff, he might be able to see his daughter sooner. JSB might see him in a different light if he can help clear things up instead of bickering. I don't think Andy B is bickering at all. What do you mean, Big Mad? I'm confused. And what does Andy clearing things up have to do with seeing his daughter?